Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroads in our lives, facing a reality that demands our attention, our responsibility, and our action. If you are to evolve to become who you were always meant to be, then you must first understand that self-improvement isn't a destination. It is a process, a relentless daily commitment to transformation. There's no magic formula, no quick fix, but there is a path, one rooted in discipline, in responsibility, and in truth. The formula I'll share with you today isn't about what others expect of you. It's about what you owe to yourself, to your potential. It's about taking full ownership of your life and pushing yourself, not just once in a while, but every single day, toward who you can become. If you're ready to confront the uncomfortable truths about yourself, to challenge the limits you've imposed on your own growth, then I promise you this formula will change you. It will empower you to live with purpose, to improve consistently, and to take control of your future, one day at a time. Let's begin. Embracing personal responsibility for your growth is one of the most profound and transformative steps you can take in life. It is a decision to take full ownership of your actions, your choices, and the direction you're headed in. Too often we fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances or other people for where we find ourselves in life. We blame our upbringing, our environment, or the unfairness of the world for the lack of progress we feel. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking your potential lies not in shifting the blame or pointing fingers, but in taking complete responsibility for where you are and where you're going? Personal responsibility means acknowledging that the power to change lies within you. It's not about what happens to you, but what you choose to do with what happens. When you decide to take responsibility, you relinquish the passive mindset of being a victim of life's circumstances and instead become the active creator of your reality. This shift in mindset is crucial because it empowers you to act. You no longer wait for permission, for the perfect timing, or for someone else to make a change. You realize that the only person who can make things happen is you. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for others to fix things for you or to validate your struggles. It's easy to point to the external forces at play, the economy, other people's actions, your past mistakes, as reasons why you're not where you want to be. But when you embrace responsibility, you take those same external challenges and ask yourself, what can I do in spite of this? What is within my control? This is where growth happens. It's in the moment you stop waiting for the world to change and start changing yourself. At the heart of personal responsibility is the recognition that your choices matter. Every decision you make, no matter how small, shapes the person you are becoming. The direction of your life is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond to what happens. By acknowledging this, you reclaim your power and stop living as though life is something happening to you instead of something you are actively shaping. This is the foundation of all meaningful self-improvement. Taking responsibility means understanding that nothing is handed to you. Success isn't an accident, and progress doesn't occur through mere hope or wishful thinking. Every success story, every person who has achieved something meaningful, has done so by choosing to take responsibility for their journey. They understood that no one was going to come along and fix their problems, so they got to work. They faced the difficult truth that their life was the result of their own choices and behaviors. And rather than resist this truth, they used it as fuel to change. The responsibility you take for your life extends to how you manage your time, your energy, your mindset, and your relationships. It's about making decisions that align with your vision for the future, rather than simply reacting to life's circumstances. It means creating a vision for yourself that reflects the person you want to become, and then consistently making choices that move you closer to that vision. This requires a deep level of self-awareness, an honest look at where you are now, and the courage to face the areas of your life that need work. When you take responsibility, you stop looking for excuses. There's no longer any room for self-pity or avoidance. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, how can I? Every setback, every failure becomes a lesson instead of a reason to quit. When life knocks you down, taking responsibility means getting back up and learning from the experience. It's not about avoiding mistakes or preventing failure. It's about owning them and using them to propel yourself forward. Taking responsibility also means realizing that growth requires discomfort. It's easy to sit back and blame circumstances when things are tough, but true growth comes from the willingness to confront those challenges head on. It's about choosing to step out of your comfort zone, to face the things you fear, and to push through resistance. The more you do this, the more you build the resilience needed to continue growing, no matter what life throws at you. This is not an overnight process. It takes time, and it takes effort. But every small decision you make to take responsibility for your life compounds over time, and eventually you begin to see the results. The truth is, no one else is going to take responsibility for your life. Not your parents, not your parents, not your friends, not your colleagues. They might support you, but ultimately it's up to you. When you recognize that power, you can make a choice to take responsibility for your own growth and take action toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Developing a daily routine centered on discipline is one of the most essential elements of self-improvement. It's easy to romanticize the idea of personal growth, to think that it will happen spontaneously, or that some great moment of inspiration will propel you forward. But the truth is that growth happens in the quiet, consistent actions you take every single day. It's about making small decisions every day that move you closer to your goals, even when you don't feel like it, even when the motivation is gone. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself into a rigid, joyless existence. It's about committing to the long-term vision for your life, even when the short-term satisfaction of indulgence seems more tempting. Discipline is about creating a structure that supports your growth and then adhering to it day in and day out. Day in and day out. A well-structured routine serves as a blueprint for your day, providing a framework for how you spend your time and energy. Without a structure, you'll find yourself reacting to life's distractions, always busy, but never moving forward. The power of a daily routine lies in its ability to eliminate the need for constant decision-making. Every time you decide what to do next, you waste energy on a process that could be more efficient. When you create a routine, you take away that decision fatigue. You build habits that align with your goals, and the choices you make each day become automatic. This is not to say that you're operating on autopilot. Rather, you've made the decision to make your best choices as easy as possible by pre-planning them. A disciplined routine provides clarity and reduces the noise in your life. With a clear plan, you don't have to spend mental energy wondering what to do next or how to get started. You know exactly what you need to do because you've already decided it in advance. This removes the procrastination that so often holds us back, as well as the feelings of overwhelm that come from not knowing where to begin. A well-structured routine helps you prioritize what matters, ensuring that you're focused on actions that contribute to your growth, rather than getting lost in distractions. It's easy to allow life's demands to pull you in 100 different directions. Family, work, social obligations, personal desires, these all compete for your time and attention. Without discipline, it's easy to become scattered, to spend your days putting out fires and reacting to the demands of others. But with a daily routine, you take control of your time. You'll become proactive instead of reactive. You start each day with a sense of purpose, knowing that you're doing what you need to do, rather than what others want you to do. Discipline also teaches you the importance of consistency. Success doesn't come from a single moment of brilliance, but from the steady, incremental progress you make over time. The daily actions you take, no matter how small, compound into significant change over the long term. You might not see immediate results, but over weeks, months, and years, the consistency of your actions will build the life you desire. It's like planting seeds and waiting for them to grow. You may not see the growth right away, but if you keep watering them, they'll eventually bloom. Creating a routine rooted in discipline also teaches you the value of delayed gratification. In a world of instant access to entertainment, food, and pleasure, we're conditioned to expect immediate results. But real growth requires you to embrace the discomfort of doing what needs to be done now, even if the reward is distant. By committing to a disciplined routine, you're training yourself to resist the pull of instant gratification and to focus on long-term success. You're saying no to distractions and yes to your goals. Furthermore, discipline helps you build resilience. It's easy to follow through when things are going well, when motivation is high and the path ahead is clear. But what happens when life gets tough? What happens when the obstacles start to mount? This is where discipline becomes your anchor. When you have a daily routine that you stick to even in the face of adversity, you develop the mental toughness to keep going, even when your emotions or circumstances tell you to quit. Discipline also fosters self-respect. When you follow through on the commitments you make to yourself, you build trust in your ability to do what you set out to do. This trust becomes a powerful motivator. The more you prove to yourself that you can stick to your routine, the more you believe in your own capacity for growth and success. Over time, this belief in yourself strengthens, and you begin to see discipline as a tool that empowers you, rather than a burden you must bear. Creating a daily routine centered around discipline is about setting yourself up for success, one day at a time. It's about making your goals a priority and doing the necessary work to move closer to them each and every day. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't require grand gestures or bursts of energy. It's about showing up, doing the work, and sticking to the process, even when it's difficult, even when you don't see immediate results. Through this consistency, you lay the foundation for meaningful progress in your life. Confronting your weaknesses and transforming them is one of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of personal growth. We all have areas in our lives that hold us back, traits, habits, or beliefs that limit our potential and keep us from reaching the heights we are capable of. These weaknesses can take many forms: procrastination, fear, insecurity, negative self-talk, or lack of discipline. The problem is not that we have weaknesses, but rather that we often refuse to face them. We either ignore them, hide from them, or convince ourselves that they don't matter. But the truth is, unless you face your weaknesses head on, they will continue to control you, limiting your potential and keeping you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Confronting your weaknesses requires an immense amount of honesty with yourself. It's easy to blame external factors or other people for your shortcomings, but real growth happens when you look in the mirror and admit the truth, that you are responsible for the areas where you struggle, and you have the power to change them. This is not about self-criticism or self-punishment, but about taking ownership of your life and saying, this is where I am, and this is where I need to improve. It's natural to want to avoid discomfort, and confronting your weaknesses is uncomfortable. It's not easy to look at your flaws and acknowledge them, but avoiding them only reinforces their power over you. It's like trying to ignore a storm that's brewing on the horizon. The longer you wait, the worse it will get. The only way to break free from the grip of your weaknesses is to face them directly, to understand them, and to take proactive steps toward change. The first step in confronting your weaknesses is to identify them. This might seem simple, but many people go through life without truly examining the areas where they struggle. It's easy to deny or minimize your weaknesses, especially when they're linked to your identity or ego. But if you want to grow, you need to be brutally honest with yourself. Take the time to reflect on your behaviors, patterns, and thoughts. What are the things that consistently hold you back? Where do you feel the most resistance? Is it a lack of confidence, a tendency to procrastinate, an unwillingness to embrace discomfort? Once you've identified your weaknesses, you can start to work on them. The next step is to understand why these weaknesses exist. It's easy to think that you're just a stuck or a broken, but most weaknesses are rooted in past experiences, fears, or limiting beliefs. For example, if you struggle with procrastination, it may be because you fear failure or because you've never developed the habit of discipline. If you struggle with self-confidence, it may be because of past rejections or negative experiences. By understanding the root causes of your weaknesses, you gain insight into why they exist and how they can be overcome. Once you have this understanding, the next phase is transformation. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it's not about simply wishing for change. It's about taking deliberate, consistent action to break free from the patterns that have kept you stuck. This requires courage, because change often involves discomfort. It requires stepping into the unknown and pushing yourself beyond the boundaries you've set for yourself. It's about challenging the beliefs and behaviors that have defined you for so long and replacing them with new, empowering habits and mindsets. Transforming your weaknesses requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable obstacles, you need to view them as opportunities for growth. Each weakness is a lesson waiting to be learned, a chance to become stronger, more resilient, and more capable. The key is to approach them with patience and persistence. Transformation is a process, not an event. It requires constant effort, practice, and self-compassion. You will stumble. You will face setbacks, but every small step you take toward overcoming your weaknesses brings you closer to the person you want to become. One of the most powerful tools in transforming your weaknesses is creating a support system. No one changes in isolation. No, we are all influenced by the people around us, and having a network of support, whether through mentors, friends, or family, can make all the difference. These people can offer guidance, encouragement, and accountability, and they can help you stay committed to the process even when things get tough. Having someone who believes in your potential, even when you don't, can provide the motivation you need to keep moving forward. In addition to external support, it's essential to cultivate an internal mindset of growth. When you embrace a growth mindset, you understand that weaknesses are not fixed traits, but areas of development. You stop seeing yourself as a failure and start seeing yourself as a work in progress. This shift in mindset allows you to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your self-worth. It enables you to persevere when things get tough, knowing that every struggle is an integral part of your transformation. As you work on transforming your weaknesses, you'll begin to notice changes in yourself. You'll feel more confident, more capable, and more in control of your life. The very act of confronting and transforming your weaknesses builds resilience and strength. You become less defined by your limitations and more defined by your ability to overcome them. Over time, this transformation becomes part of who you are, and your weaknesses no longer hold the same power over you. Instead, they become stepping stones on your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. Cultivating consistency, not perfection, is one of the most important aspects of self-improvement. We live in a world that often glorifies perfection, where the pursuit of flawlessness is not only encouraged, but expected. Social media bombards us with images of idealized lives and success stories that seem to happen overnight. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success is about being perfect, having everything figured out, and executing flawlessly at every turn. But the truth is, perfection is not the goal. Consistency is the key. Perfection by its very nature is unattainable. The pursuit of perfection often leads to frustration, self-doubt, and paralysis. It can cause us to delay action or avoid taking risks because we fear making mistakes. When we try to be perfect, we become so focused on the outcome that we lose sight of the process. We forget that growth happens through trial and error, through learning from mistakes, and through putting in the consistent work day after day. Consistency, on the other hand, is achievable. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and putting in the effort, regardless of whether or not you feel motivated or whether the results are immediately visible. It's about building habits that support your long-term goals and sticking to them, even when it's hard. Consistency is the steady, unglamorous work that compounds over time to create lasting results. It's the small actions you take day in and day out that eventually lead to big transformations. When you focus on consistency, you shift your attention from trying to be perfect to trying to be reliable. Then, you commit to the process, not the outcome. This shift is incredibly powerful because it frees you from the pressure of having to get everything right all the time. Instead, you focus on progress, not perfection. You give yourself the permission to make mistakes, to stumble, and to learn, knowing that each setback is simply part of the journey. The beauty of consistency is that it compounds. Small daily actions might not seem like much in the moment, but over time they add up. Just like the process of building a muscle, the more you practice consistency, the stronger it becomes. If you commit to reading 10 pages a day, for example, in a year, you'll have read more than 3,600 pages, a significant amount of knowledge or personal growth. If you dedicate just 30 minutes a day to physical exercise, you'll see profound improvements in your health, strength, and fitness over time. These incremental gains don't seem like much at first, but they build a foundation that allows you to achieve far more than if you waited for the perfect moment to start or tried to do everything at once. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, consistency can feel like a slow, tedious process. But it's important to recognize that real growth and progress rarely happen quickly. Building something meaningful takes time. Oh no. Whether it's a skill, a career, a relationship, or your personal development, lasting success comes from steady effort over the long term. Trying to shortcut this process by seeking perfection or immediate results only sets you up for disappointment. By focusing on consistency, you learn to embrace the journey, not just the destination. Another key aspect of consistency is its ability to build momentum. Once you start to show up regularly and take consistent action, you'll begin to build positive habits that make it easier to continue. This momentum can carry you through difficult times when motivation wanes or when obstacles arise. The more consistent you are, the more confident you become in your ability to handle challenges. You start to realize that even on your worst days, the simple act of continuing to show up is enough to move you forward. Consistency also allows you to track progress over time. When you make steady progress, it becomes easier to look back and see how far you've come. This is important because it reinforces your belief in the process and motivates you to keep going. Progress, however small, is still progress. And when you focus on consistency, you begin to see how each small step contributes to your overall success. A key part of consistency is the understanding that results may not always be immediate. You may put in the work and see little to no progress at first. This can be discouraging, especially when we're used to instant feedback. But the truth is that results are often delayed. It's only through consistent effort that the seeds you've planted begin to sprout and grow. Trusting the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible, is an essential part of developing consistency. Perfection, by contrast, often leads to burnout. No, when we set unrealistic standards for ourselves and constantly strive for perfection, we set ourselves up for frustration and exhaustion. It's a never-ending cycle of trying to meet an ideal that is impossible to reach. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt as we feel like we are never good enough. In contrast, focusing on consistency allows you to acknowledge that growth is a gradual process, and it gives you the space to be imperfect, to learn, and to evolve over time. Ultimately, consistency is a mindset. It's about committing to a long-term vision and recognizing that the journey to success is not about perfection, but about showing up every day and doing the work. It's about developing habits and routines that support your goals and sticking with them, even when the going gets tough. When you embrace consistency over perfection, you empower yourself to create lasting change, to push through adversity, and to achieve things that would have seemed impossible if you were only focused on getting everything perfect. Seeking continuous learning and self-reflection is essential for growth and transformation. It's easy to become complacent in life, to feel like you've reached a certain level of success or understanding, and to stop pushing yourself. But growth doesn't end with a single achievement or milestone. In fact, true progress comes from a willingness to never stop learning, to continually challenge yourself, and to reflect on your experiences so you can improve. The pursuit of continuous learning and self-reflection is the difference between stagnation and evolution. It's what separates those who are content with their current state from those who are committed to constant improvement. Continuous learning goes beyond simply acquiring new knowledge. It's about developing a mindset that is open to growth and change. In today's rapidly changing world, the ability to adapt and evolve is one of the most valuable skills you can cultivate. Knowledge is no longer static. It's constantly expanding, and those who succeed are the ones who remain curious and willing to learn, no matter their age or experience. The idea that learning stops after formal education is a dangerous one. In reality, the most successful people are those who have adopted a lifelong commitment to learning. One of the key aspects of continuous learning is developing the ability to seek out new experiences and perspectives. If you only stick to what you know, you limit your potential for growth. In order to expand your knowledge, you have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to expose yourself to new ideas, and to engage with people who have different viewpoints. This doesn't mean abandoning your own values or beliefs, but it does mean being open to challenging your assumptions and learning from others. Whether it's through books, conversations, travel, or new experiences, the more you expose yourself to, the more you can learn and grow. Learning isn't just about gaining new information. It's about integrating that information into your life. It's one thing to read a book or take a course, but it's another thing entirely to apply what you've learned. Knowledge becomes powerful only when it is put into practice. This is where self-reflection comes in. It's not enough to learn something new and move on to the next thing. True growth happens when you take the time to reflect on what you've learned, how it applies to your life, and how you can implement it in a way that creates lasting change. Self-reflection is the process of looking inward and evaluating your thoughts, behaviors, and experiences. It's about gaining insight into why you think, act, and feel the way you do. Through self-reflection, you can identify patterns in your behavior, uncover limiting beliefs, and recognize areas where you need to improve. Self-reflection also allows you to celebrate your progress and recognize the things that are working well in your life. It's easy to overlook your successes, especially when you're focused on what still needs to be done. But taking time to reflect on your accomplishments helps you stay motivated and reminds you of how far you've come. The key to effective self-reflection is honesty. It requires the courage to look at yourself objectively, to admit where you've gone wrong, and to acknowledge the areas where you can improve. This can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. Without self-reflection, you risk repeating the same mistakes, failing to learn from your experiences, and remaining stagnant. By honestly assessing your strengths and weaknesses, you can make intentional changes that move you closer to your goals. Another important aspect of continuous learning and self-reflection is the ability to seek feedback. We often think of learning as a solitary activity, but in reality, the feedback and perspectives of others are crucial to our development. Feedback provides us with an outside perspective on our actions and behaviors, helping us see blind spots that we may not have noticed ourselves. Whether it's from mentors, peers, or even constructive criticism from others, feedback is a powerful tool for self-improvement. It allows you to see how others perceive you and identify areas for growth that you may not have considered on your own. However, receiving feedback requires a level of vulnerability and humility. It's easy to become defensive when someone points out a flaw or suggests an improvement, but true growth comes from being open to feedback, not shutting it down. When you approach feedback with a mindset of curiosity rather than defensiveness, you open yourself up to opportunities for growth and learning. Embrace feedback as a gift, as it can help you become a more effective communicator, a better leader, and a more self-aware individual. Continuous learning and self-reflection also help you stay adaptable in the face of change. The world is constantly evolving, and the ability to adapt is one of the most valuable skills you can have. When you commit to lifelong learning, you are better equipped to navigate changes in your personal and professional life. Whether it's new technology, shifting cultural norms, or changing industry standards, the more you learn and reflect, the more adaptable you become. This adaptability allows you to stay relevant and to continue growing, no matter what challenges arise. It's important to recognize that continuous learning and self-reflection are not always easy. It requires discipline, humility, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. But the rewards are immense. By committing to lifelong learning and regularly reflecting on your experiences, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. You become a more capable, adaptable, and self-aware person, and you set yourself on a path of continuous growth and improvement. It's this commitment to growth that allows you to reach your full potential and live a life that is aligned with your values and aspirations. Mastering time management is one of the most crucial skills you can develop in the pursuit of self-improvement. Time, once lost, cannot be regained. It's the most valuable resource you have, and yet it often feels like it slips away unnoticed. We live in a world that demands constant attention, with distractions lurking at every turn. From social media notifications to the endless stream of emails, our time is constantly being pulled in different directions. Despite this, those who manage their time effectively are often the most successful. Time management isn't just about scheduling your day or creating to-do lists. It's about making intentional choices that align with your long-term goals and values. It's about taking control of your time so that it works for you, not against you. At the core of time management is the understanding that not all tasks are created equal. Many of us fall into the trap of reacting to whatever demands our immediate attention, responding to the loudest or most urgent tasks rather than focusing on what truly matters. This can lead to a sense of overwhelm where we feel like we're constantly busy, but never truly productive. To manage your time effectively, you need to prioritize your tasks based on their importance and impact, not just their urgency. The key is to identify the activities that align with your long-term goals and values, and to dedicate the majority of your time to those things. Prioritization requires clarity about your goals. If you don't know what you want to achieve or why it's important, it's difficult to decide what to spend your time on. This is why having clear, defined goals is essential. These goals give you a sense of direction and purpose, helping you navigate the distractions and temptations that can derail your focus. When you have a clear sense of what matters most, it becomes much easier to filter out the noise and focus your time and energy on what truly moves you closer to your desired outcome. Once you've identified your priorities, the next step is to plan your time. Time management isn't about rigidly scheduling every minute of your day, but about structuring your time in a way that allows you to focus on the things that matter. A common mistake people make is underestimating how long tasks will take. They overestimate their ability to multitask and underestimate the time required for focused work. Effective time management requires honest assessment of how much time tasks actually take, and the recognition that multitasking often leads to inefficiency and errors. It's far more effective to dedicate a block of uninterrupted time to a single task than to try to juggle multiple things at once. Time blocking is one of the most effective techniques for managing your time. By dedicating specific blocks of time to particular activities, you create structure and ensure that the most important tasks get done. For example, you might dedicate the first hour of your day to focused work, the next hour to meetings or phone calls, and later in the day, set aside time for personal development or exercise. Time blocking allows you to avoid distractions and ensures that you're consistently making progress on your most important tasks. In addition to time blocking, it's important to build in regular breaks. It's easy to think that working nonstop will make you more productive, but in reality, our brains have limited capacity for sustained focus. Taking regular breaks helps maintain high levels of energy and focus throughout the day. Whether it's a short walk, a few minutes of stretching, or simply stepping away from your desk for a moment, breaks allow you to recharge and return to your tasks with renewed focus. The Pomodoro technique, for example, suggests working for 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 cycles, take a longer break. This method helps maintain productivity while also preventing burnout. Another key element of time management is learning how to say no. Many people struggle with overcommitment because they don't want to disappoint others or miss out on opportunities. However, saying yes to everything means you're saying no to something else, usually something more important. Learning to set boundaries and say no to requests that don't align with your goals or values is essential. It's about recognizing that your time is limited and you can't do everything. Saying no is not about being rude or unhelpful. It's about making conscious choices about how you invest your time. Managing distractions is another critical aspect of time management. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to get pulled off course. Whether it's your phone, social media, or even people around you, distractions can derail your focus and prevent you from getting important work done. One effective way to manage distractions is to create a dedicated workspace. This could be a specific room, a corner of your home, or even a particular spot in a coffee shop. Having a designated space for focused work helps signal to your brain that it's time to concentrate. Another strategy is to minimize digital distractions. Turn off non-essential notifications, use website blockers if necessary, and set specific times to check your email or social media. It's about creating an environment that supports your focus and minimizes interruptions. The more you can protect your time from distractions, the more effective you'll be at staying focused on your priorities. Equally important is the ability to delegate tasks. Many people feel like they have to do everything themselves, but effective time management involves recognizing when it's appropriate to delegate tasks to others. Delegating allows you to focus on the tasks that only you can do while entrusting others with responsibilities that they are capable of handling. It's a way of leveraging your time, and it's crucial for achieving long-term success. Finally, time management requires flexibility. Life is unpredictable. and things don't always go according to plan. You may face unexpected challenges or interruptions that throw off your schedule. The key is not to become discouraged or give up, but to adjust your plan and keep moving forward. Flexibility allows you to maintain your focus on your long-term goals, even when the day-to-day doesn't go as expected. Mastering time management is not about being perfect or adhering to a rigid schedule. It's about making intentional choices, setting priorities, and taking control of your time in a way that supports your goals and values. By learning to manage your time effectively, you create more space for the things that truly matter and position yourself for success in every area of your life.